Alright, welcome back for another video at Big Easy Overland. So, I decided I needed some ditch lights for the 4Runner, and it just so happens that I have these Denali D2 lights that I had installed on a Triumph Scrambler 900 that I got hit on by a car, and it totaled the bike, and I actually took these back off from it before the bike went away. And I have to double check because I'm not 100% sure, but I know that they are 12 volt. They only draw less than 2 amps. And I believe that these could be used on a car. I'm not an expert on electricity, so there might be something I don't know. And I'm going to have to do a little research on that. But I believe that because it's a 12 volt, and as I understand it, the voltage is a consideration, and it's 12 volt. The car is 12 volt. I know there's more amperage on a car battery, but I think that amperage is a draw. In other words, the available amperage is there, but it's not going to flow to the light unless the light is demanding it. At least that's how I understand it, and I could certainly be wrong, and I'll find that out. I'm going to talk to some people that know about electricity and see if that is the case. So anyways, I believe that I can use these. So they have the brackets that they were mounted to the motorcycle with, and then I bought these brackets, these Calraised LED brackets that hook to the hood bolts, and then have the part that comes up here and goes right behind the hood above the cowl. And I believe that I can hook those up and then wire it in, and it has its own relay. And then this wire goes to power, and it's fused, and this wire goes to the switch, and I would have to extend this to get it through the firewall, I think. Maybe not, depends on where I put it. Anyways, and I said that I wasn't sure if I could be using these because I wasn't sure if using a battery from a motorcycle is the same as using a battery from a car. I talked to an expert in electricity and said that my thinking was correct, that there is, yes, there is more amperage, but that amperage is a draw, not a push. In other words, it's not going to push that amperage into the load unless the load wants it, right? So the light wants the amperage, it will accept the amperage. And so it doesn't matter if you use a car battery or a motorcycle battery. And so I'm going to install these on the 4Runner, just as I had said before, with the Calraised low profile ditch light mounts. So in the meantime, I had to figure out, how, first of all, if they will still work, because I hadn't tested them since the wreck, and secondly, how I was going to do it. And so here's what I've got. I've got jumpers going from, well, first of all, I got the power to this pack clamped on. That's what these clamps are, just clamping it on to the battery. And then I've got a jumper going from here. That is running my switch. Okay, so the jumper is running my switch, and then the switch is then going to this part here, which I'm gonna have to figure out a way to rewire somehow. Hopefully I can find another plug like this, because that's what I'd like to do, is leave it intact and not be cutting it too much. Just put another plug in that side and just run those wires to it. The third wire that goes to this, the switch that was on it was a backlit switch. Well, I've already got backlighting just from how these switches work, so I don't have to worry about that. So I would just hook the power and ground to this and then run it to my switch. So anyways, this wire, which was a source of confusion for a while, this when it's on the motorcycle, this wire here goes to a keyed source, the white wire. And then so that when you turn the key on, the light comes on, which on motorcycle is how it's done. The blue wire went to a source that when the high beam was on, it would be triggered. So basically this is the high beam wire. Well, I could possibly, and I'm thinking about maybe doing another switch. Like I actually have an extra switch here, it's zombie lights, right? I'm thinking about moving this over to there and having this be just low beam and this be high beam. Not sure if I'm going to do that yet. But if you just leave them like this and you turn it on, it goes low beam. So what I've got right now is, if I hit, also, I don't know if you can see this on the thing, but these particular switches, which I kind of stole this whole switch thing from Wanderlost Overland. They've got a lot of great ideas. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if you're interested in these, they do a much better job of explaining them on their channel. So anyways, this is backlit with what the light is. So in this case, I'm calling them spotlights. And then if you turn it on, first of all, it comes on, and right now it's on low beam. And I'm going to do this. So then you can see that they're also backlit on the light itself, the little logo. So now these are not connected, right? So that's because that's why it's in low beam. So if I connect them, now it goes to high beam. So I'm going to have them high beam all the time, I think, but I might also utilize that other switch. I haven't really decided that yet. But anyways, that's what we have. Got the 4Runner in the garage. Well, halfway in, halfway out of the garage, because I got way too much stuff in this little garage. Anyways, today we're going to try and get the ditch lights mounted, and the wires kind of ran, but I'm not going to wire it up until I get the fuse and relay panel installed. So, but I am going to kind of, run the wires that I can, and then just bundle them up and set them to the side, kind of zip tie them to the side until I get that other panel in there. Same thing with this bumper. I'm gonna get the bumper installed, get the light is already installed in it. The winch is already installed. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the rope in it, at least the end, because I can get to it now, and then spool it up later or whatever. May or may not hook that up right now. Right here we have one dirty engine compartment. At least it's mostly dust. I would probably wash that out before I do the electrical panel, but I'm not gonna mess with it today. I am probably gonna get all the gunk out of there, all the leaves and needles and stuff. But I mean, it's an Overlander. It's gonna get dirty. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen up one of these bolts right here, one at a time, so we can get the brackets installed for the ditch lights. And what I'm gonna try and do is, I'm thinking that there's probably a paint line here, but what I was also thinking I might do is I might trace this with a Sharpie, so that when I tighten everything up, I can get this back to exactly where it was, and it will help keep it aligned. When I used to do auto body, we used to use the paint lines, but I'm not sure if that still applies, so I might just put a real thin line on there with a Sharpie so that I know where that was. Okay, so I put some Sharpie so that when I do this, if it moves, I can get it to go right back to where it was. So I can just line up the Sharpie lines, and that should work. Okay, so I've got the top bolt out. What I've decided I need to do is I've decided I need to put some thread locker before I put these bolts back in. So we're going to put a little blue thread locker on it. Okay, so I've got the bracket, and you're going to orient this bracket. Well, you're going to orient this bracket so that it is like this. So first thing you do is put this on. And you're just going to kind of hand tighten it for right now. I'm going to take this other one off. And the thing is this thing is going to move. There's not much you can do about it. I mean, you could maybe tighten this up just a hair, but not much, because you need this to swing. But it's going to move. That's why we put the thing here. Still not enough, because it's binding a little bit, and that's because you got these things here pushing up on it. So you know, the hood is going to move slightly. That's why I put those lines, so I can get it to go up on this time. I think if I push up on this. Yeah. There we go. Get a little blue Loctite on it. And get it back in the hole after we swing this down. Ooh, well, that was stupid. But it's nothing compared to the mark it's going to get on eventually. Anyways. Okay, I'm having trouble seeing here. Let me see if I can get some glasses. Combination of no glasses. I'm gonna have to loosen this. Okay. Combination of no glasses, or yeah, glasses, and the fact that this thing is, there we go. Okay. Make sure it's not cross-threaded. You gotta push up on the front of the hood, and then it helps to get that hole in there correctly. There we go. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of jiggle. It's gonna help me do this by hand. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna pause it for right now. Let's pause. Okay. So what I did, and I forgot to turn the camera on, is I lifted up and I had Tracy push over. So I lifted up, pushed over. I think I got it aligned. As much as I can tell, the thing blocks it a little bit, but I think I got it aligned. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the hood, take a look at the body lines before I get too carried away here. And if it's good, then we'll move to the other side. Okay, one of the things we discovered is that this is adjustable. It has the slots. So I pushed this that way as far as I could because it was hitting up here, right here, and making the hood kind of stick up some here. So when I moved it that way some, it clears it now. So So we should be good with that. So now what I'm going to do is put one of the lights on here just to kind of make sure that the bolt will clear after it's on. So I'm going to pause it and then I'll do that. Okay, well, I've got this one on. Trying to figure out how to run the wire now. And what I've kind of run into here is there's a spot right here. Let me see. How can I do this? So there's a spot right down here that plug will fit through. Barely fit through back there, but it won't fit through up here. And down here, let me see, down here is, there's not enough room for a light to get. There's not enough room for a light to get, or for the plug to go through there. So what I did is I took out this cap. Can't find my, there you go. Took out the cap so I can move this cowl part here slightly. Right, see how I can move that? So hopefully I can fit that down through there. So that's what we're going to try and do. Alright, so we're going to see if I can get this down through there now. Actually, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try fishing this up through it. Yeah, there we go. Tape that to it, and then pull it down through. Alright, so now let's see. That was kind of a crappy tape job, but let's see if it worked. First thing I gotta do is get this. Just go down in that hole again. Okay, it took some doing, but what I finally did is I've got it coming from here and tucked into here and zip tied a little more, than down into here, and then out right here. So then I can do that. So then I also have a little bit of a service loop here, and I'm gonna close the thing here so I can show. Turn on the light here so maybe we can get a little more light on the situation. And it looks like it's gonna work pretty good. Let's have a look. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's too tight or anything. Okay, maybe I could have had a little more loop, but actually no, because if anything will go this way more, not this way. So I think the loop is actually pretty good. All right, do the other side. Okay, well, I was doing the video for my ditch lights when I realized I didn't have an outro video. So I had stopped when I had done this side and said, okay, now we got to do the other side. Well, other side is done. Bumper's installed. And that's what it looks like on the other side. I'm still waiting parts from Waytech for the fuse and relay panel. And so these still are not wired up all the way. As is, that light is not wired up all the way either. The winch is wired up and good to go. So yeah, that's what it looks like.